Welcome in. Welcome in.
I got a question for you.
What's that?
You ever watched that show on, I think it was Nickelodeon?
There's a lot.
Josh and Drake.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was fun. That was fun for a few years as a kid.
That's what we're gonna call this show.
This is the Drake and Josh show, or
it's the Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake show.
Yeah, I mean that's the current situation in Las Vegas. No offensive line to speak of, but Drake and Josh are going to do it all by themselves.
The Raiders are the biggest story outside of the New England Patriots, who we talked about last pod, of free agency, I think, for me.
I don't know what they're doing. Does anybody know what they're doing? If anybody knows what they're doing, let us know.
I don't even think John Gruden knows what he's doing.
John Gruden is oh man. I remember a couple of years ago when Eagles fans wanted the team to hire him after they fired Chip Kelly. And I just remember thinking, I know it's not going to happen, but dear God, how stupid do you have to be to want John Gruden? And the results are now coming to a head and proving themselves. The NFL has passed him by. And he has proven that he has absolutely no idea how to build a team. He has no idea what he's doing. His offensive scheme is absolute garbage.
Honestly, he's been saved the past 2 years because Darren Waller exploded out of nowhere and became one of the best tight ends in the league. If that wouldn't have happened, if 7th round pick Darren Waller, who switched positions early in his career and dealt with drugs and stuff in the early part of his career, if he didn't turn into a top 2 tight end, John Gruden would be probably looking at one of the worst coaching stints in modern NFL.
That's his only saving grace.
Right?
That's it. Because the offense is predictable and the defense has been terrible.
I mean, when you start your tenure trading away Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that's pretty bold.
and then you just look at what he's done this offseason. Nick, you mentioned it. They gutted their O-line.
They traded Khalil Mack for 2 first-round picks. One of those picks they spent on Josh Jacobs. And then they went and signed Kenyon Drake, who is presumably the backup, who will now be making more money than the running back you spent the pick on to trade Khalil Mack. If that is not the definition of incompetence, then I don't know what is. I am not sure how some people end up in NFL front offices or in coaching gigs in Gruden's case. They prove time and time again that they absolutely have no idea what they're doing.
And it does not make sense what's happening. Ever since they drafted Josh Jacobs, they've treated him like he can't catch the ball, and that was one of his best traits coming out of college. It makes no sense. They continue to bring in Devontae Booker last year and Lynn Bowden last year, and this year they're bringing in Kenyon Drake for no reason when finally Devontae Booker moves on. And before that, it was DeAndre Washington was there. And it was just like, why do they keep surrounding Josh Jacobs with other people who can do the same job that he can do better?
They really wanted to upgrade backup running back, man.
And then they have a run-of-the-mill O-line, but they let pretty much everybody go with the exception of Richie Incognito and Denzel Good. So they have to completely rebuild their O-line from scratch while they're paying Kenyon Drake, who's 29, right? He's 29?
He's 27.
Okay. He feels like he's 29.
And he's been around for a while. Well, he spent a lot of years in the doghouse in Miami and then had a mini resurgence after getting traded to Arizona, but then this year was pretty uninspiring. Now he has a contract that pays him more money than Josh Jacobs, who is supposed to be the starter. It makes no sense. From a fantasy perspective, this is officially a situation just completely avoid.
Yeah, this isn't even a buy low opportunity for Josh Jacobs, even though he just turned 23 and he's incredibly young and has shown promise. But you have to look at what the team is doing. The team doesn't view him as an every down starter for them. So you shouldn't view him as an every down starter for your fantasy.
They spent a first round pick on him and then just decided not to commit to him.
It's one of the most mind-boggling things I've ever seen a front office do in the span of 3 years.
Jacobs...
Because it's not like he's not good. It's not like he's Trent Richardson. He's good.
Jacobs currently has an ADP in the 3rd round. That's going to fall. Kenyon Drake's ADP has plummeted. I think it's around 7th, 8th round territory. That's probably going to fall. Maybe not significantly, but I am all the way out.
If it falls anywhere past like the 10th round, I might look at him.
Right. Yeah. If it's the 10th round of a best ball, then okay for Kenyon Drake. If it's the double-digit rounds and you don't have a ton of running backs, okay, fine. Maybe Kenyon Drake. Because then if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, then okay, now you've got a situation where Kenyon Drake might be the feature back. But with Kenyon Drake, in his career to this point, he hasn't proven that can be a feature back.
No, not at all.
So, avoid, fade. The Raiders frustrate me. I hate when NFL teams do stupid-ass stuff, and this is one of those things. So, fade both of those running backs. The only guy in that offense worth a damn is Darren Waller. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah, they don't even prop up second-year wide receivers in Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards because they signed John Brown, who I love. I love John Brown. But they signed him to be their new number 1 after Aguilar leaves.
I mean, it's presumably maybe Ruggs gets that opportunity, but I don't know.
The way they run this offense, though, they're not going to give him the chance. I just don't believe in it. I don't
believe in the Raiders. You should just fade that offense from a fantasy perspective as a whole. It is going to be incredibly gross. Let's move on. Let's move on to another running back. Chris Carson. Let's talk about Chris Carson because he signed today.
Yeah, he signed back with the Seahawks, so I think it's just going to be business as usual in Seattle.
Yeah.
Now, they did go out and they got an O-lineman recently.
From the Raiders.
Right.
Yeah, they got Gabe Jackson.
So that's an upgrade for Russell Wilson and Chris Carson. But I expect it to be pretty much what you've seen for the past 2 years out of Chris Carson. We're going to see that for maybe another 2 years, 3 years, depending on how long they stick with this contract.
It's a 3-year deal, but the final 2 years are voidable. So what that tells me, it's essentially 3 one-year deals rolled into one contract. These contracts are getting weird. But it's team-friendly in the sense that the Seahawks can get out of it after next year if they want to, but also Carson gets paid. So, that's the direction they decided to go in. He slots right back in as the starter. His ADP is around the 5th round. So
I expect that'll go up.
Yeah, he's definitely viable now at his ADP. Obviously, there was a little bit of uncertainty of what was the situation he was going to end up in.
He'll be back up in the 3rd round.
Yeah, it'll probably go up a round. But 3rd, 4th round, that sounds feasible. Let's put it this way. I would reach for Chris Carson at this point over Josh Jacobs. And I don't even know if it's a reach anymore at this point.
Yes. No, that's not even in question for me. And I think the fact that they're bringing back Chris Carson is an indictment on the rest of the Seahawks' current running back squad. I think this means that they don't think that Rashad Penny can come back to full strength. Because if they did, I think they would just move on and save the cap, and use the cap savings elsewhere.
Or he's not a workhorse. He's not going to carry a full load for a season.
Right, and we all know Dallas is just a receiving 3rd down depth piece. So, yeah, there's not much to say here. And there's not much to say, I think, personally, about another player who is sticking with the same team that he just left. And left in quotations, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
He's back with the Steelers. So again, it's business as usual for the Steelers.
That's such a buzzkill for Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. I mean,
yeah, it is.
The Steelers are obviously one of the offenses that throws the ball more than most other teams, so all three of them should be fine. I wanted to see the two of them without Juju because I think the two of them could have had monster seasons if they were the clear-cut guys. Now Juju's back into the fold. You got to imagine Juju's going to get 100 or so targets. So that cuts into what I think a lot of people were expecting the target share to be for Deontay and for Claypool. So they should all still be fine. Of the three of them, I guess I would imagine I see Claypool's ADP dip a bit. Juju's will probably come up a little bit. He's actually the lowest of the three. But yeah, this is a situation where if you find yourself taking a Steelers wide receiver, you should be all right, regardless of who you end up with. I would much rather have Deontay or Claypool, but Juju will have his weeks. He'll have his weeks.
This really wipes out James Washington. I was kind of hyped to see what James Washington was kind of going to come in and be able to do in that Juju Smith-Schuster role. I was kind of looking forward to see what he was going to be able to put together. I was actually eyeing him in the Dynasty League that we're in together as an option, and this just completely wipes that off the table. I'm not looking at James Washington, and it's a maybe next year situation for him.
Right. He'll have his weeks, but that's where it ends. But the Steelers will throw the ball, so who knows? What else is going on out there?
Well, I know Will Fuller got signed to a one-year deal by the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a interesting pairing. Fuller gets paid, goes to Miami, but how enthusiastic are we right now about the Dolphins' offense? Like, yeah, they're theoretically like coming up, but a lot of questions remain about Tua, and Tua didn't really throw the ball deep last year. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now that he was a rookie and he was coming off a pretty nasty hip injury, and that always messes with
I got a question for you.
Players' torque, if we want to really get technical, but
I got a question for you.
Yeah, I don't know. What's up?
Did you watch him in college?
Tua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was his deep ball? Because I didn't watch him in college. How was his deep ball?
Well, he came in. His first snaps were the national championship game that year. He came in halftime and chucked a bomb right away for a touchdown. It went at least 50 yards. So I know he can sling it. I've seen him do it, and he did it all through that national championship game. But
so how much of his conservatism do you think was him coming off of an injury?
A lot. I do. I think it was a good amount. But now here's the question: how much of it? My question to your question, and this is obviously rhetorical, is how much is that mental? You can question the physical aspect of it all day, but is he going to be able to overcome that injury from a mental perspective? Because I don't think his physical talent took a dip. He didn't tear his ACL, although to be fair, a hip injury is it's a pretty big deal. Those are difficult. Your hips are
they're important.
They're
important,
and that's a weird injury. That's not a common injury. So it's a strange one that he suffered. So this Dolphins passing offense is interesting because Fuller joins Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki, a slew of other ancillary pieces. So there's some names down there, but yeah, a lot of it comes back to how's the quarterback going to do? How's he going to perform? There's a lot of question marks there. So, I'll be interested to see what happens to Will Fuller's ADP as a result of this. Because Devontae Parker's ADP right now is not very high. You can get him in the 9th round. Whereas last year he was going 4th, 5th.
I don't like Devontae Parker.
I'm not crazy about him.
I'm not looking to get him on any of my teams. But the fact that he's going in the 9th round is kind of crazy.
It's cheap.
I don't think he's ever going to replicate the season that he had 2 years ago. But he can still be a wide receiver 3 for you, and you're getting him a high floor wide receiver 3, and you're getting him in the 9th round. Even with Will Fuller there, the Miami Dolphins have always tried to pair Devontae Parker with a speedster. They did it with Kenny Stills, Albert Wilson.
Yeah. Albert Wilson.
And this is the highest caliber speedster we've ever seen him with.
No doubt. Yeah, Fuller's talented and he's fast as hell.
But I don't believe he can stay healthy. He's going to play for six to 8 games unless he's PEDing it up again.
Are we talking about Parker or Fuller? Okay. And Fuller is also going to miss the first game of the season.
Right. I don't believe in Fuller, and I don't love Parker. I don't love this offense.
It's kind of weird, right?
I love Gesicki.
It's a weird offense as far as like the pieces that have been put together that are now working together. And I have to imagine they're not going to do nothing at the running back position. They didn't get Aaron Jones. They didn't get Chris Carson.
Travis Etienne.
I mean, I would think that they're a favorite to draft one of the names at running back. I have to think they're in play there. Not at 5, of course, but at some point in the draft. I think they're going to get one of those guys. So we'll see. The jury's still out. If Will Fuller's ADP in any way climbs, I mean, in best ball, Fuller is fine because, again, you don't have to predict his big weeks, but he's not going to be the clear-cut 1A every single week. Not now. In Houston, he was. He's not going to be the clear-cut number one in Miami. Not every week. Some weeks, not all.
He's going from playing with prime Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
On a team that was crappy and needed to throw the hell out of the ball.
Yep.
And couldn't rely on the run game at all.
Yep.
Or for long stretches of his tenure there, he was the number 2 and performed like a wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 1 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was relied on to be the wide receiver 1, he performed like a wide receiver 1, but he was on PEDs. So I expect him to go back to he's not going to be the 1A there. He's the 1B or the 2. It's not a secondary wide receiver.
They'll be like interchangeable, like.
And he's not playing with Watson anymore.
Right.
So I don't expect there to be wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 1 weeks. I expect him to be a wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 weeks. And it's going to be a low-end boom-bust wide receiver 3.
And it was well known that Watson and Fuller had developed a pretty strong chemistry on the field. Now Fuller is resetting with a quarterback who, let's be honest, Tua has not proven that he can be on the same level as Deshaun Watson. There's just that. Again,
if Ryan Fitzpatrick was still there, I'd be a little bit more hype about his situation.
Sure. Oh yeah, but that's not the case. That's not the case at all.
No, it's not the case. So yeah, I'm not hype about any of the Dolphins pass catchers. They're both wide receiver 3s for me.
I would say Miami's offense is slightly more desirable, and I use that term loosely, than say the team we just shit on at the beginning of this podcast, the Raiders. But yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I feel about both of them. I'm not super enthusiastic. I guess if I had to pick, it would be the Dolphins. But yeah, I'm not gonna be telling you to hammer Parker at his ADP or Fuller at his. I gotta go back and double check and see where Gesicki is getting drafted, but this is it kind of feels like a ragtag, like some square pegs in round holes type of situation. I'm not really sure what Miami's trying to do on offense right now. So we will see. I do like Will Fuller as a player, but I kind of, to your point, it kind of feels like we're starting over, and he's going to be more of a guy with regular wide receiver 2 upside instead of wide receiver 1 upside. So
if there was any team that I would have expected to go out and go a little tight end crazy, it would have been this team because of the average depth of target. Sure. I would have thought they would have been the team to sign Juju Smith-Schuster, and they would have been the team to sign a Hunter Henry or something, and that would have made sense to me. But this signing doesn't really make sense to me. It seems like they're trying to be something they're not, like you said, square peg, round hole. But moving on to another team that doesn't seem to know what they're doing, and this team is a team that we did just mention, and that's the Houston Texans, because we were bringing up Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller. They signed, to go along with David Johnson, who they just re-upped, and Mark Ingram, who they just signed. They signed Phillip Lindsay. So this just further muddles a running back core that I wanted nothing to do with in the first place.
They really want running backs down there.
At least they got one that was under 30.
Yeah, at least Lindsay is a bit of a complementary piece to what David Johnson and whatever Mark Ingram has left, whatever both of them have left, bring to the table. Lindsay's a little bit more of a straight line speed guy. That's not something that David Johnson or Mark Ingram can do at this point in their careers. So I assume Lindsay's going to play the third down role, but this is a situation to avoid. Houston's probably going to suck anyway. I don't know where Watson's going to end up, if he stays in Houston or not, if he goes elsewhere. Totally up in the air right now what's going to happen there, but this backfield is gross. David Johnson is older now, still looks slow. Ingram's old. Ugh.
One of the weird things about the composition of this running back core is that, yes, you would think that Phillip Lindsay would be the third down back, but he's not a great pass catcher. He was never a great pass catcher in Denver. He was an effective running back on the ground.
Yeah.
He ran for 1,000-yard back-to-back seasons coming into the season. He was not actually effective in the passing game. Melvin Gordon was. And that's why they deemed Phillip Lindsay expendable, because Melvin Gordon was just straight better than him in the pass game, and probably isn't going to get suspended because that DUI case got thrown out.
Right.
So,
right.
Phillip Lindsay is kind of weirdly cast in this offense because, you would expect him to be the third down back, but David Johnson's better than him at catching the ball.
I guess at least just getting his hands on the ball and catching and securing it. Beyond that, I'm not really sure if David Johnson's going to be able to run after the catch, but yeah, Lindsay did it a little bit the year before Gordon arrived, or the 2 years before, whenever he had his mini breakout campaign. But yeah, this is a weird stable of backs. Don't draft any of them. Don't touch the Houston backfield. In all likelihood, don't touch Houston players in general, but especially not the backfield. It's gross. What the hell are these teams doing? This free agency is becoming less and less fun as we're talking about this.
No, I was expecting some more exciting land spots. We're going to move to another team in a second, the Giants, who they picked up Kyle Rudolph, and they paid him $14 to $16 million when they already had Evan Ingram on the team. A lot of these moves that we're talking about, we talked about last pod, we're talking about this pod, just don't make sense from a modern NFL standpoint. They don't even make sense if you're playing Madden. They just don't.
Rest in peace, Evan Ingram. By the way, you did say at the end of our first run through of free agency when we were talking about the Raiders, you did say, watch them sign Kenyon Drake. Lo and behold, that happened. Good God. We are better at predicting how stupid these front offices are than the front offices are at proving us wrong.
Look, and I was in a fantasy football chat with you, and we were talking about the Patriots, and I said kind of quippishly that they're going to trade up to sign to pick Kyle Pitts in this year's draft so they can run out 3 tight ends.
Right, they're going 13 personnel on every play.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Damian Harris is going to eat. Just kidding. But yeah, the Rudolph signing to the Giants is gross. But also to me, that is an indictment on Evan Ingram. One, he hasn't been healthy throughout his career to this point, and two, when he's been ridiculously up and down, and the ups are not nearly as much as the downs.
He might be the most unreliable tight end.
Drop issues. They drafted him in the first round, too.
Yeah, he was a high draft pick.
Like, you thought that he was, okay, this is going to be a centerpiece of their offense, their passing game for years to come.
He was Kyle Pitts. He was the most athletic tight end prospect to ever come out to that period since, like, Jeremy Shockey and Kellen Winslow. And that's who they were talking about there.
Are you telling me I need to fade Kyle Pitts?
No.
I want him to succeed. He looks really good. Every game I saw this year at Florida, it was just, this guy is unguardable.
His comp is Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, okay, let's hope that happens. But that did not happen with Evan Ingram and this Kyle.
But nobody was comparing him to Calvin Johnson.
No,
you know
but he was at least a good-looking athlete. At least it was like, wow, this guy can run. This guy's got some athleticism at the tight end position.
He can still run, but if that's all, a pure runner doesn't make it in football, or else Marquise Goodwin would be an all-star.
No, you gotta catch the ball. You gotta catch the ball. Gotta stay healthy. Ingram has failed as far as keeping the drops to a minimum. And he's missed a ton of time to injury. So the Kyle Rudolph signing just continues to water that down. Ingram was around an 11th, 12th ADP in best balls. So that tells you what the market had thought of him to this point before the Rudolph signing. I expect that to go down another round. And I feel like this is the fade pod. This is the fade pod. I feel like every single name we're talking about right now is a fade. Like, don't draft these guys. Maybe Juju. That's about it. Everybody else is kind of blah. What else we got here? I think we're coming.
We got Brashad Perryman to the Lions.
I mean, whatever. You know, I have liked Perryman. He's not the best deep threat in the NFL, but he flashed a little bit in Tampa Bay before he signed with the Jets and got gaced. But now he's with Jared Goff, who I said it earlier in the offseason. To me, he's the top candidate right now at the quarterback position to get benched this year. The only thing that's working in Perryman's favor is the Lions are probably going to stink, and they're probably going to throw the ball a lot. So Perryman can benefit from that sense. I just am not sure what the Lions are going to end up doing in the second half of the season when I fully expect them to maybe have a couple of wins. No, I think we are pretty much up to speed as far as the latest free agent signings. We will, of course, continue to monitor, continue to track, and as signings continue to happen, we'll break them down. And hopefully we can pump somebody as a buy at some point.
Yeah, it'll happen. You know, we'll be talking Kenny Golladay soon, and hopefully something will happen with James Conner that's a little bit more exciting than what we've seen in the past 2 days since that first day in free agency.
Man, bleh. Yeah, and if you disagree with any of our with any of the analysis, if you think any of these guys are going to be better than we're giving them credit for, drop us a note.
Fuck yourself.
Jesus.
I'm doing it again.
All right, so John's wilding out. He's on one. Take that for data.
Yeah, if you got a problem with me being on one, put your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for listening. This is the Face Mask Podcast. As always, it's been our pleasure bringing you this information. But Nick.
What?
Top 3 favorite movies of all time. Top 5 favorite. You can just put them on at any point in time, and they might not be the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time, but it doesn't matter what time of day, how many times you've watched it. You can just throw it on and enjoy yourself. Top 3.
I am a terrible movie watcher. Like, I suck at watching movies. How
do you suck at watching movies? You just gotta sit there.
Well, I'll either fall asleep or I'll not watch them. Yeah, I'm really bad at seeing movies, watching movies. I don't know if it's like this millennial attention span of mine. Who knows? But
okay, then television shows, bro.
No, I can still do movies. I'll do movies because one of the greatest movies of all time is often on TV, and that's Step Brothers. That shit makes me laugh every single time I see it. I will watch that movie 1,000 times. I don't care. It is one of the greatest comedy movies of all time.
It's the best Will Ferrell movie ever.
It's so good. Like,
it's so
start to finish. There's a lot of... See, here's my thing with comedy movies. Even the best comedy movies, a lot of them fizzle out by the time, like... You know the part of the movie where it's kind of like... This is the crossroads part where something happened and the protagonist or protagonists, either they... You know, there's a fight or there's a falling out or there's something that they need to figure out.
The turmoil.
Right. The turmoil part. Right. And then usually from that point forward, it's like, okay, this movie just needs to end. Step Brothers has bucked that trend. It was...
There are two Will Ferrell movies that did that.
Okay.
Step Brothers and The Other Guys. The Other Guys is still funny.
Is that one of your top three?
No, but I'm just saying, as far as Will Ferrell movies that just don't get old as far as the humor, from when I watched it like the first and second time to now, bro, those two movies. But I'm with you. I love Step Brothers.
Step Brothers is so phenomenal. Best comedy movie of all time. I would rather watch that over any of, like, say, a superhero movie, like one of the Marvel movies. Like, if a Marvel movie is on and Step Brothers is on, I'm watching Step Brothers. And I haven't seen all of the Marvel movies, so take that for what it's worth. I mean, there are some classics that are in there. I'm a big nerd, so, like, I love The Lord of the Rings. Those movies are long, so... I do have to be in a certain type of mood, but if they're on, there's a good chance I'll throw it on. Especially the Two Towers, because Helm's Deep is one of the greatest, like, battles
Helm's Deep
in cinema history.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
I remember when I saw that in theaters for the first time.
I was bugging. I was like, this is amazing.
Oh, man.
There's that. I mean, I'm also a Star Wars nerd. I don't always throw them on now, though, just because I've seen them so many times. So they don't always end up... It's like the Star Wars movies, the Harry Potter movies, like, I've seen them so many times that I don't always throw them on. Sometimes, but it's not like every single time. Like if Step Brothers is on, I'm watching it. I'm dropping what I was doing and I'm watching it, but not necessarily always some of those other ones. But Two Towers for Lord of the Rings, if I see that that's on, and especially if it's in the back half and I know Helm's Deep is coming up, it's like, yeah, okay, that works for
Automatic.
me. Yup.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Honestly, this is a difficult one for me because I do like movies. I'm a movie watcher.
Okay.
I gotta say Star Wars too, and that comes up first and foremost. I love the original trilogy, but I have to pick one movie to put on that I've seen 1,000 times, but I just don't care, it's Revenge of the Sith.
This is controversial. I
like and respect the other ones more, but in terms of the originals more, obviously.
Sure.
A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, obviously. Special place in my heart. But if I'm just watching a movie, to not pay attention to the movie, it just kind of like, it's just enjoyable, whatever. I can go up, leave for 10 minutes, come back, jump right back in, exactly know what's going on, and jump right back into the entertainment. It's Revenge of the Sith for me. It's got everything.
That one aged pretty well.
It aged. It was better. It's better now than it was then.
Oh, yeah. when I first saw it, I think I was still the hatred I felt toward 1 and 2 like manifested to 3, and I just remember like I forced myself I didn't force myself, but I just remember I was like, my mentality was I don't like this, and it was just it was a result of hating 1 and 2, which is still true to this day. Those movies are terrible, but
1 is not as bad as you remember.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
3, it's too much politics. Like, it's called Star Wars, not Star Congress.
Star Senate.
Yeah, Star Senate. Yeah. 3 aged well. And so I definitely give it the respect that it now deserves. But I was definitely not giving when it came out.
Yeah, it has the best Star Wars fight scenes. It has the best Star Wars special effects of any of the Star Wars that I actually give a shit about. Because I don't give a fuck about them sequel motherfuckers.
I still haven't seen 9, and I'm not sure if I ever will.
You really don't need to.
I'm
telling you right now, it would just make you angry again.
Genuinely not sure if I'll ever see 9.
But enough talking about Star Wars. You know my entry for Star Wars is Revenge of the Sith. The other one that I will say that I would probably take from you is The Two Towers.
It's so good.
It's so good. I bought the DVDs when they came out. I watched them into the ground. I bought the PlayStation 2 video game and played as every single character and unlocked every single thing.
We
talked about video games earlier.
Game?
It was probably the same thing. It was probably GameCube and PlayStation 2.
Okay,
I actually have it right over there. It's right over there.
You gonna mess around tonight?
No, but I did play the Revenge of the King game like 2 or 3 months ago, and I was really bored. So
that one wasn't bad
I love
too.
those
that
games.
Movie is just so long. There are times where I'm like I can't do this right now.
And you can literally skip the last 20 minutes of the fucking thing.
Yeah, there at one point it's like okay. I saw that in theaters, and I remember there were like I think I counted 6 or 7 different times. I was like, okay, now the movie's over. and it wasn't. I was like, holy shit, this is still going. But not to disrespect Lord of the Rings. It's I remember there were, I swear, like 5 or 6 times minimum, I was like, okay, it's definitely over now. And it like faded to black, and it was just like, new scene. I was like, what are we still doing here?
Now we're in Hobbiton.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now we're sailing to the Grey Islet. But I mean, Two Towers is in there for me. I don't know what my third one is. I have to.
My third one's The Shining, and I know it's weird, but I will pull up The Shining and watch the fucking Shining any day. And I think that's number 1 for me.
Damn.
Like if I have a movie that I'll just throw on, it's The Shining, because fucking Stanley Kubrick's a genius.
I know that it's revered. It's you know.
It's not even scary. It's just like the atmosphere that he creates in that fucking movie is great.
Yeah, see, I think you and I have different definitions of horror. I am not, I've never seen The Shining. I am not somebody who watches horror films. I couldn't tell you what the level of scary is for The Shining, and I probably can't
scary.
Ever. I mean,
it's disturbing. It's a disturbing movie because it has the most disturbing atmosphere in a movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, see, like, I don't
even
want
to this
that.
day.
I'm not, see, I'd rather
There's just
laugh at something.
You come away from that movie feeling slightly off about shit.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm weird.
Okay.
I'll admit that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind a a film or a piece of art that makes me think or makes me like put me outside of my comfort zone and makes me really think about what did I just see or what am I absorbing right now. And I know that The Shining does that, but it's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Yeah, I'm the first to tell people it's one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen, because it's one of the only movies I think can make me feel the way that I feel after watching it.
Yeah.
Not to get like mad deep into it, it's just weird. It's a fucking off-putting thing.
Yeah, see, like, I don't know if I want to go for
You watch
off-putting.
one thing and, like, I don't know, your mind goes left when it, you know, what is on the screen is, like, going right. And you're just like, what? This is super disorienting. But whatever.
Okay.
Those are my 3.
Those are your 3?
Yep.
I've officially locked in 2. I'm like struggling to come up with a third one. I'm just such a terrible movie watcher. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll cop out and say Star Wars. Well, the one, you know, I'm a big fan of Rogue One.
Rogue One was great.
That movie kicked ass, and it's now kind of a regular in the rotation as far as the when it's on the TV schedule, and that, you know, whereas Episode 1 is Star Politics, Rogue One is Star Wars. That movie
it's a Star fucking Rebel Alliance.
Is a battle. The whole damn movie is a fight. Like,
everybody dies.
Yeah.
Nobody survives. Everybody dies.
Spoilers, but I
feel like that's the one gripe that I kind of have with that movie, because you don't have any outside of that one contained movie. You don't have any draw to any of the characters.
No,
but as far as a one singular contained movie, it's perfect.
It's awesome.
But I do like Solo better. I know a lot of people don't. I like Solo better.
I only saw it once, and I had questions and wasn't like totally enthused about it.
Lando's robot pissed me off, but that's about it.
Okay, there you go.
And there was the weird giant space squid in the middle of the maw. That was just like, what? Oh, you were Kessel running. Where's this giant space squid? But whatever. Like, the rest of the movie, I fucking love.
I feel like they jammed a bunch of storylines into one movie where they could have made it a couple, which you know that studios love doing that for extra cash grabs. Like, yeah.
Well, now we're getting into other things, because there's going to be a Lando show that is going to take a lot of the stuff that they had planned for Solo 2 and put it into a show starring the same people. But,
okay.
I'm excited for that, because I'm a nerd.
Yeah, I'll check it out. But I'll say I will officially, my third will be Rogue One. It's kind of new. It's relatively fresh as far as being added to the rotation. And it's fun because it is a 2-hour some odd whatever battle, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it just gets real, and then goes to another place and gets real, and then it goes to another place and gets real, and then the final place, it's one of the realest space
awesome
and
battle
on-field Star Wars battles we've ever seen.
It's amazing.
So yeah,
big fan. That's what I got.
I'm with you. And we nerds out here. We love sports, but we nerds.
Yeah,
if you haven't noticed by our choices in movies.
Yeah, totally normal people.
Yeah, whatever.
Normalized nerds.
Well adjusted to reality.
We try.
Thank you for listening, y'all. This is the Face Mess Podcast. Thank you for listening this long. And stay tuned for more content coming soon.